Alright, we are going to find the first and also the second derivative of this function, and let's just go ahead and get to work. We see that we have this times e to the x, so we have to use the product rule. And let's try to just write down the answer along the way. Have a look. I'm going to write down f prime of x right here, and we are going to remember that the product rule says we keep the first function, which is parentheses x to the third power plus 1, alright? And then we multiply by the derivative of the second. The derivative of e to the x is still e to the x, so I'll just put it down like this, alright? And then we are going to add the second function, and we multiply by the derivative of the first. Derivative of x to the third power plus 1 is, well, this only, which is 3x squared, and the derivative 1 is 0, so that's what we have. And before we continue, we can actually factor out e to the x, and the reason that we want to do that is because it will be easier. Because I don't think you want to do product rule here and then product rule here. Check this out. I'm going to factor out e to the x, and perhaps just to keep the same style, I'm going to put the e to the x at the end. So what we will have is this, which is x to the third power, and then this, which is plus 3x squared, and then plus 1, and then we have e to the x. So again, it's just we factor out e to the x, and then we have the x to the third power plus 1, and don't forget this right here is that. So that's the first derivative, and that's the most that we can do. Now we're done for that. Now for the second derivative, notation is f double prime. And you see, if we have this form, then we can pretty much do the same thing. Keep the first function, x to the third power plus 3x squared plus 1, and we are going to multiply by the derivative of the second, which that will give us e to the x. And we add the second function, which is e to the x, times the derivative of the first. Derivative of x to the third power is 3x squared, and the derivative of this is plus 6x to the first power, and the derivative of 1 is 0. Take a look. There's one thing wrong. Yes. Be sure you put down parentheses when you have two terms. It's a very common mistake that I have seen students make, so make sure you do that. And now we can see, again, they have e to the x, so we can factor it out and combine terms, and we are going to do that. Let me open the parentheses. Okay, here we have x to the third power, and we don't have x to the third power, so we just have x to the third power. Alright, next we have 3x squared, and then this is also 3x squared, so we can add it together and say that's 6x squared. And then next we have this, which is plus 6x and then plus 1. Alright, and lastly we have the e to the x. I'm just going to factor it and put it at the end. And here we have it. This is the second derivative.